Mr. Wee.
Yeah.
Do you hear this guy over here?
We got it running.
Really? James isn't here yet, but in the meantime, we got the exhaust manifold gaskets. He's still at his shop waiting on a couple parts to arrive. But in the meantime, we're gonna get the turbos off, get the new turbos mounted up. James should be here around 11, so we'll have the rest of the gaskets we need to complete the turbo install and slam the motor back in. So we're gonna get started on getting the turbos off, downpipes off, and getting it ready to go back in. Well, the fuel pumps are sitting right here. So to get to the fuel pumps, you got to disassemble the back seat. So, no big deal, pretty easy, but still just...
This is the easiest way to get to it though, huh?
Yeah. If I was smart, I would have disconnected the battery, or before I disconnected the battery and took everything out, I would have screwed this seat all the way forward, but... James is here just in time to put the turbos on, has the gasket set, ready to go. James owns ACG Automotive, GTR Genius, so he's gonna help us the rest of the day to get the engine back in the car.
So what we have here is a pair of pure turbos that we're going to be using on the pure GTR built by ACG. And I want to just show you the main differences of why these turbos make more power over a stock compressor and stock turbo. So the first thing you're going to notice right away is that there's going to be upgraded wastegates. These factory wastegates are going to be running about 1.1 bar, and up top you run about 14 pounds regardless of how much wastegate duty cycle we're going to be running on it. And so by upgrading the wastegates, we're going to be able to hold pressure a lot higher with a better spring inside. And these are set at 15-pound crack at start. So what Pure has done is they've upgraded the CHRA cartridge inside the turbo. You can see just size-wise of the inlets. You can see on the factory turbos that they actually taper down to go to a smaller wheel. So what Pure has done is they've machined this flat so we can run a bigger wheel inside, therefore being more efficient and producing more power. On the back side, enable the air to go out faster, you'll see how large this has been machined here. And you can see the size difference between stock. So stock is probably almost a quarter to a third smaller than what has been machined for the pure turbos. So we're gonna throw some jam at this, install these real quick, and see how much more power we pick up from these turbos. This should be fun.
Where are the turbos?
You tell me.
Yeah, Nick, point off the turbos.
Point out
I did not. Oh, is this?
even just one of the turbos. Show me where they're at.
Is this turbo?
No, that's...
Do you know what a turbo looks
Yes,
like?
it looked like a snail. Is this turbo?
That's not the turbo.
Let's go through some theory here.
Okay.
What spins the turbo?
Air.
Exhaust
So,
gas.
Yeah. So this is intake manifold. Where's exhaust?
Where's the exhaust come out, Nick?
The exhaust come out. So this is intake. This is
Yes.
out.
So, no.
This
Those are
is
both
a-
intakes.
They're both intakes.
So your air enters through the center of the
Yes.
engine. It goes into the head there, and then it comes out the other side of the head.
Where's the other side? Ah, yes, there. This is.
So if your exhaust gas comes out here, where does it go to?
It comes to turbo, but turbos has to be in car.
Ah.
Turbo's on the
Turbo
floor.
on the ground.
Oh yes.
Now you're figuring it
Yes,
out.
there is my buddy Gary. He is a snail.
There you have it. Breaking down an engine with Nick.
Yes, very nice.
anytime you increase the horsepower on the GTR, you need to increase the fueling. So the stock injectors are a 570cc injector, which is fine if you're just going to stay putting around and driving around stock. So since we're increasing the turbo boost and the performance, we've called our guys over at Injector Dynamics, and we got some ID 1300 injectors with plug-and-play harnesses. This way that we can simply plug them in and get moving versus worrying about splicing the harnesses and plugging them in. Because fueling is important, we also have this F750 fuel filter from Injector Dynamics to make sure that all the fuel going into the motor is clean. You can't really bank on the sock inside the tank giving you pure filtration. So this system here gives 87% filtration at 5 microns and 100% at 35 microns. And so this is going to make sure that all the gas going into the motor is going to be pure and clean for this build.
So Mike, what are some important things to remember when installing turbos on this type of car?
The copper seals, and make sure you torque it right. So when you fire this thing back up, it's not just leaking oil out of it. So, or you're taking the engine back out.
Yeah, so the important thing is even if they're brand new, we always look at them, make sure there's no like kinks in it or anything like weird. Because it's not like it's something easily accessible. And so just take your time, make sure everything is done right, and then you don't have any problems.
So if you had to guess, each of you, how many GTR engines have you dropped personally? No, that's probably a lot, but...
I've probably done over 150.
150? Yeah. What do you say, Mike?
Like 30.
30? Still a lot of engines.
Not compared to James. Makes me look like a novice.
Well, he does own a GTR
Might have been doing
shop.
this for a minute.
Yeah.
James has been doing this since I was in diapers. So. We got James back here still wrenching. We got all the injectors in pretty much up here. Turbos are back on. James is putting the last little bit of oil line on. Right, James?
You're gonna drop this girl in.
And then the engine's gonna go straight up and into the car. So stay tuned and we should be there soon. Okay, I'm here at James Wheat, the one and only ACG Automotive. Day 2, update 4. But nonetheless, we had a couple things slow us down, a couple little bolts that didn't want to go in right, but we made sure they were perfect, fixed them right, and now it's actually time to slam the engine in. Everything's ready to go, as you can see right here, and it's time to put this right there.
It doesn't go back there?
I mean, we could do first rear wheel GTR.
I say we send it.
Send it. James, you heard it here first. James says send it, we send it.
So how much more time do we need before we can start?
What do you
Tomorrow. I mean, the motor wasn't in the car 30 seconds ago.
Okay,
It
so hey,
just went up.
Is Del Frisco's open for dinner?
Oh,
That would be
we
nice.
have a bet.
Oh, is that a bet? A wager, if you will. What
That's
time
for
is
all
it?
of us here still, right?
What time do they close?
No, this is
What
for
time is
tomorrow.
it?
Good dinner.
It's 6:50.
Yeah, nice.
It's
yeah.
6:50. Okay. Oh, well, for tomorrow. So what are you saying? You're saying you can have it?
No, you said
I said tomorrow.
correct. So let's just wager
So
that
tomorrow
tonight.
technically is about 5.5 hours from now. So you're saying
You
5.5
got to
hours?
Stick to donuts, mister.
5.5 hours. This thing is going to be running.
Mr. Wee.
Yeah.
Do you hear this guy over
We
here?
get it running.
Really?
I think 1
We
hour.
were saying we could have it ready by Del Frisco's closing.
Today. But if you're gonna give me until midnight, 11:59 tonight, then
That's even better.
should we go to dinner first before we finish this?
That
It's
engine.
not looking good for you, Santiago.
That would be it.
It's dinner time, bitch.
So one of my biggest pet peeves in the Nissan GTR engine bay is this really ugly coolant tank. I don't know why Nissan did it. They could have made it better looking. It's just this ugly yellow tan coolant tank in this beautiful engine bay. And so what we did is we called our guys over at AMS and we got this awesome alpha coolant tank reservoir that's in powder coated satin black and is actually functional with 3-liter capacity versus the factory 2. It's a lot more rigid. It's incredibly eye-catching when you open the engine bay, and it's also functional. So whenever you get someone that might happen to kneel on the engine bay while they're taking off the engine harness and break off a nipple, not calling anyone out here with a wrench in their name, but instead of spending a couple $100 to buy this, you go to our site or you go to AMS and you buy this black coolant tank to get rid of this piece of junk. This is honestly the only way to run E85 on a GTR. The reason behind this is when you go to the pump, if you really look at the pump, it'll say minimum E60. And so you never really know if you're getting E60 or E85. It fluctuates depending on how they fill the tank, how long it's been sitting there, and how long it's been being used. So the beautiful thing of this kit is that you can tune a car from E0, which is basically your pump gas, or E10 when it's our winter blend, all the way up to E98. And so what this does is the fuel goes through the sensor, calculates. We're going to be tuning it with Ecutech, and it allows us to run whatever you have in the tank, from pump gas 91 or pump gas 93, all the way up to E85, VPX85, and then if you really want to throw at it, you go pure ethanol and run E98. So this is going to be the only way that we actually ever run flex fuel or E85 on our vehicles, because you just never know what you're going to get, and this makes sure that you keep the car completely safe and running correctly.
We got the engine in the car. James is clearing some fault codes, just uploading the tune. Should be starting any second now, but we're just gonna make sure everything's ironed out, good to go. All the fault codes are good, and then fire right up. Engine's in, car just started. James down here checking shit. And it's back together. We just got to button up a few things before it hits the dyno on Monday, but it's ready to rock. Time to put some power down.